He struck another beat, and the wind howled louder. Fear gripped him. He realized that the drums did not just make music. They made magic, dark and wild. In the village of Dunia, nestled among tall trees and warm breezes, lived a boy named Mazi who loved to drum. His beats were so lively that they kept the village dancing all day. One afternoon, while exploring near the forest edge, a place villagers seldom went, Mazi discovered a hidden path draped in thick vines and shadows. His heart thumped like his drumsticks on a drumskin as he decided to see where it led. Deep inside the forest, Mazi found a clearing that he had never heard about. In the centre stood a circle of old, tall drums, each carved with mysterious symbols that shimmered under the sunlight breaking through the trees. The drums seemed to hum with an ancient power, a melody that beckoned Mazi closer. Though excited, Mazi remembered his mother's stern warnings about straying into unknown parts of the woods. He paused, torn between the urge to flee and the desire to play these enchanting drums. With a cautious step, Mazi approached the circle, his heart racing. He reached out slowly and barely touched a drum when a chill ran through him. The forest seemed to lean in, whispering secrets of old. Mazi knew these were no ordinary drums. They were forbidden for a reason. He decided to return home, the mysterious drum beats echoing in his mind, promising him great power if he dared to play them. That night, Mazi lay in his bed, restless and wide-eyed. The drum beats from the forest played over in his mind, louder with each passing hour. They called to him, tempting him with visions of storms at his command, and dances that could make the whole world sway. Mazi felt a thrill at the thought, mixed with a deep, nagging fear. What were these drums that played themselves in his head? The next day, Mazi could no longer resist. He told his friend Juma about the drums, hoping that sharing the secret would ease his pull towards them. Juma listened, wide-eyed and eager. "Show me," Juma said, his voice a mix of fear and excitement. Mazi hesitated, knowing he should refuse, but the drum's call was too strong to ignore. Together, they sneaked to the forest as dusk painted the sky with strokes of orange and purple. The drums stood silent in the clearing, but to Mazi they seemed alive, vibrating with silent music. He warned Juma we shouldn't play them. They are powerful and dangerous. Juma nodded, but his eyes were fixed on the drums, filled with curiosity and wonder. Despite his reservations, Mazi's resolve waned. "Just one beat," he whispered to Juma, "to see what happens." He reached out, his hands trembling, and struck the nearest drum. The sound was explosive, echoing through the forest like thunder, more beautiful and terrifying than he had imagined. Instantly, the air around them changed. A breeze whipped through the clearing, growing into a gust that circled the boys, lifting leaves and whispering voices. Mazi's heart raced with exhilaration and fear. He had unleashed something ancient and powerful, something beyond his understanding. Juma pulled Mazi back. "We need to go now!" he shouted over the roaring wind. But Mazi was transfixed, his hands drawn to the drums as if magnetized. He struck another beat, and the wind howled louder. Fear gripped him. He realized that the drums did not just make music. They made magic, dark and wild. As the boys fled back to the village, the sounds of the drums followed them. A reminder that Mazi had awakened something that might not be so easily put to rest. Now, he knew the power of the drums was real, and resisting their call would be harder than he ever imagined. The next morning, Mazi woke to a quiet village, the events of the previous night lingering in his mind like a vivid dream. He met Juma at the village well, both still shaken. "We should tell the elders," Juma suggested, his voice a whisper. "They need to know what we've found." Mazi nodded, but felt a strange reluctance. The drum's call was still strong in his heart, whispering promises of greatness and power. As they approached the elder's hut, Mazi's steps slowed. "What if we kept it a secret?" he proposed, his voice uncertain. we could learn to control it, Juma. Think of the good we could do. Juma looked at him troubled. Or the harm, he replied. These are not toys, Mazi. They are older than any of us can imagine. The elders listened gravely as the boys recounted their discovery. Elder Nia, wise and stern, furrowed her brow. You must stay away from these drums, she commanded. They are forbidden for a reason. They hold a power that is not meant for men. Mazi and Juma promised to obey, but as they left, Mazi's glance back at the elder hinted at his unresolved curiosity. Despite his promise, Mazi's thoughts were consumed by the drums. At night, he lay awake, the beats pulsing in his ears, louder each night. One evening, unable to bear the pull, Mazi sneaked out, alone this time, drawn irresistibly back to the clearing. As he played the drums, each beat filled him with a surge of power that thrilled and terrified him. The sky responded with gusts of wind and flashes of distant lightning, celebrating his bold defiance. Who are you? Mazi whispered to the drums, feeling a presence within them. We are the guardians of the earth. The drums seemed to answer through their beats, keepers of old magic. Mazi felt a connection, a dangerous thrill of being chosen. But as he played, the sky darkened ominously, a warning that this power was not without peril. Juma noticed the change in his friend. Mazi spoke less and drifted away, his eyes often distant and his nights unaccounted for. Juma found him at the clearing one stormy night, the drums roaring under Mazi's hands. Stop this, Mazi! Juma cried, running to him. This is not you! This power, it's changing you! Mazi stopped, breathing hard. The storm calmed as he stepped back from the drums. I don't know if I can stop, he admitted, his voice shaky. It's like they're a part of me now. Juma grabbed his shoulders, looking into his eyes. You are stronger than this, he insisted. Don't let this darkness consume you. Remember who you are, the boy who loves to make people dance, not storms. Mazi nodded, tears mingling with the rain on his face. He realised how far he had drifted, seduced by the allure of forbidden power. He and Juma walked back in silence, the weight of his choices heavy on his shoulders. The tension in the air was palpable the following morning, as Mazi and Juma returned to the village. The recent disturbances had not gone unnoticed, and the elders summoned Mazi once more. This time, the meeting was grave and filled with an urgent energy. Elder Nia's eyes bore into Mazi as he entered the hut. Mazi, the balance of nature is disturbed, she said, her voice a mixture of worry and authority. You have been warned, yet the drums continue to sound. Tell us, have you returned to them? Mazi's resolve wavered under the elder's steady gaze. He confessed, revealing his inability to resist the drum's call. The elders exchanged worried glances, their fears confirmed. This is beyond us now, Elder Nia announced. We must seek the wisdom of the oracle. She alone can advise us on dealing with such ancient magic. Mazi felt a chill run through him. The oracle was a mysterious figure, both revered and feared for her knowledge of the unseen. Plans were made for Mazi and a group of elders to journey to the oracle's dwelling deep in the mountains. As they prepared, Mazi's mother approached him, her expression filled with concern. Mazi, this path you've chosen is fraught with shadows, she cautioned. Be careful of the darkness that seeks to claim the light. Her words echoed in his heart as he set off, the weight of his actions heavy upon him. The journey was long and filled with silent reflection. The mountains loom large as the small party ascended the winding paths. Mazi walked alongside Elder Amara, who noticed his troubled expression. Mazi, the power you've touched is old and wild, she explained softly. It predates the village, our ancestors, even the oldest trees. Such power is seductive but dangerous. As they neared the oracle's cave, a sense of dread and anticipation filled the air. The oracle, a frail figure shrouded in veils, greeted them with a knowing look. "Ah, the drummer boy," she murmured, her voice echoing strangely in the cave. "You have awakened the drums of Dunia, and they have tasted your spirit." Mazi listened, his heart pounding, as the oracle described the drum's history, created by ancient spirits to control the forces of nature, but at a cost that was too great for any mere human to bear. The oracle looked deep into Mazi's eyes. "You seek to control the drums, but it is they who control you now. You must break this bond, or it will consume you, and all you hold dear." Her words struck Mazi like a thunderclap. The journey back was somber, with each step reminding him of the looming threat hanging over his head. Back in Dunia, the reality of the oracle's words weighed heavily on Mazi. The drums called to him still, but now there was fear mixed with the allure. He met Juma at their secret spot by the river, where they had spent countless hours dreaming of adventures. "I have to end this," Mazi declared, his voice firm yet scared. "But I'm not sure I can do it alone." Juma clasped his friend's hand. "You won't have to. I'm with you, Mazi. We started this together, and we'll end it together," he promised. They devised a plan to silence the drums once and for all, knowing the task would be perilous. The village rallied behind them, their unity strengthened by the threat to their peace. Under the cover of night, Mazi and Juma approached the clearing. The drums hummed with a foreboding energy, as if aware of their intentions. Mazi took a deep breath, his sticks in hand, and with Juma's support, began to play not for power, but for closure, weaving his beats into a farewell to the ancient spirits. The night was thick with anticipation, as Mazi and Juma stood before the ancient drums, the moon casting eerie shadows across the clearing. The village elders, along with a few brave souls, had formed a protective circle around the perimeter, holding torches that flickered in the gentle night breeze. Mazi felt every eye on him as he raised his drumsticks, a symbol of both his greatest joy and deepest conflict. He began to drum, slowly at first, each beat deliberate and filled with purpose. The sounds were not just musical, but almost magical, weaving a tapestry of rhythms that seemed to speak directly to the spirits bound within the drums. Juma joined in, adding his rhythm, a harmony to Mazi's melody. The air vibrated with the power of their drumming, creating a resonance that felt as ancient as the earth itself. As they played, the drums began to respond, their own beats intensifying as if in conversation with Mazi and Juma. The wind rose, swirling around the clearing, carrying whispers of old languages and long-lost songs. It was a battle of wills, a negotiation between the boys and the spirits for control and release. The drumming reached a crescendo, the sounds almost overwhelming. Mazi poured every ounce of his being into the beats, his arms aching, sweat mingling with the tears on his cheeks. He knew this was the climax, the moment of truth, where he would either break free from the drum's hold or be lost to their power forever. Suddenly, the central drum, the one with the most intricate carvings, emitted a blinding light, enveloping Mazi in its glow. The village gasped, their fears palpable in the tense air. Mazi felt as though he was floating, detached from his body, yet more connected to the drums than ever before. In that moment of transcendence, he heard the spirits' voices, not commanding, but pleading, tired of their eternal bondage. With a final, powerful beat, Mazi struck the drum, channeling all his courage and determination into the action. The light exploded outward, and then, as quickly as it had appeared, it vanished. The drums fell silent, the carvings on their skins fading until they were just ordinary wood once again. The bond was broken. As the dawn crept over the horizon, the villagers slowly approached the clearing, where Mazi and Juma sat exhausted but triumphant beside the now silent drums. The air was fresh, cleansed of the heavy magic that had once hung over the forest. Elder Nia stepped forward, her face softening as she looked at the boys. "You have done well, Mazi. You faced great danger and have restored balance," she said, her voice filled with pride and relief. The village celebrated their victory with music and dancing, but this time the beats were joyful and free of the heavy burden of power. Mazi felt lighter, his heart unburdened by the whispers of the drums. He knew he would never forget the lessons he had learned, that power could seduce and destroy, but courage and unity could restore peace. As the festivities continued, Mazi looked towards the forest, now just a part of nature, no longer a place of forbidden mysteries. He realized that his adventure had changed him, taught him the value of responsibility and the strength found in facing one's fears. As the celebrations dwindled and the last embers of the bonfire flickered under the starlit sky, Mazi's heart was full of peace. Yet, as he lay in bed, the silence of the night whispered secrets to him once more. Just before sleep took him, he heard a faint, distant drum beat, not from the forbidden drums of the clearing, but different, urgent. It was a rhythm he had never heard before, calling to him from beyond the hills that bordered Dunia. The next morning, Mazi's curiosity could not be contained. He shared his nocturnal experience with Juma, who looked equally intrigued and apprehensive. "Do you think it's another set of drums?" Juma asked, his voice low. "I don't know," Mazi replied, his eyes reflecting a spark of the old adventure, mixed with a newfound wisdom. "But whatever it is, it's calling for us to find it." Together, they decided to seek out the source of this new sound, promising each other to be cautious. As they prepared for their journey, Mazi felt a mix of excitement and a shadow of fear. The lessons from the past drums were fresh, yet the call of this new rhythm was too compelling to ignore. They set off just as the sun painted the morning sky with hues of gold and pink, crossing into new territories, their steps in sync with the heartbeat of an unseen drum. Unbeknownst to them, eyes watched from the shadows of the trees, eyes filled with hope and desperation, waiting for the drummers of Dunia to uncover secrets long buried under the ancient soil. As they neared a valley whispered in village legends, as the echoes rest, the drumming grew louder, more insistent. There, hidden by the dense foliage, lay a cave entrance, marked by symbols that mirrored those on the drums they had silenced, but felt strangely different. Older, deeper, connected to the very essence of the earth. Mazi paused at the threshold, the drumbeats echoing from the dark depths of the cave, each throb pulling at his soul. He turned to Juma, determination setting in his features. "Whatever lies ahead, it's part of our story now," he said, his voice steady. With a deep breath, they stepped into the cave, the sound enveloping them, guiding them deeper into the unknown. As their eyes adjusted to the dim light, the walls around them began to shimmer with the same luminescent carvings as the drums had. But these told a story not of warning, but of welcome. And so, Mazi and Juma walked forward into the heart of the mountain, towards the echoes of a forgotten history, ready to face whatever mysteries awaited them in the shadows. What they would find, neither could imagine, but both knew that this was only the beginning of their true journey. As the echoes of the past fade into the whispers of the future, Mazi and Juma stand at the precipice of a new and thrilling chapter. The drums have not only tested their courage, but have also opened the gateway to mysteries that weave through the very soul of Dunia. What secrets lie hidden in the heart of the ancient cave? What tales will the silent stones tell? Join Mazi and Juma as they step deeper into the unknown, where every shadow and echo could unravel ancient truths long buried. The adventure continues, and your spirit of discovery can illuminate the darkest corners of this unfolding mystery. Are you ready to journey with them into the echoes of a forgotten history? The drums call out, dare to answer and be part of the legend. Don't miss a single moment of their thrilling journey. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you're always in the loop with every new episode. Your thoughts and theories are invaluable. Drop a comment below to share your insights or predictions for what might lie ahead in the shadows of Dunia. Let's keep the adventure alive together.